Hi friends, welcome to our channel, where we tell fun and simple stories to help you improve your English. Stories are a great way to learn new words, understand grammar, and practice listening. Today, I will share a personal story about how I overcame my fear of speaking English. It was not easy, but it taught me an important lesson. Mistakes are okay, and practice makes you better. I hope this story inspires you and helps you feel more confident. Let's get started. When I was in school, I loved learning English. I enjoyed reading books and writing in my notebook. But speaking English? That was my biggest fear. Whenever I tried to speak, I felt nervous. My hands would sweat, my heart would race, and my mind would go blank. I was so scared of making mistakes. I thought people would laugh at me or think I was not smart. One day, my teacher asked me a question in English. She smiled and said, "Can you tell the class about your weekend?" I stood up, and my legs were shaking. I wanted to answer, but no words came out. The classroom was so quiet. Everyone stared at me. Finally, I whispered, "I don't know," and sat down. My face felt hot, and I wanted to disappear. That evening, I told my mom what happened. I said, "I don't want to speak English ever again. It's too hard." My mom hugged me and said, "It's okay to feel scared. But remember, you don't have to be perfect. Just try your best one small step at a time." At first, I didn't believe her. How could I try when I was so afraid? But her words stayed in my mind. A week later, a new student joined our class. His name was Jake. He was from another country, and he didn't know our language. But he spoke English very well. Our teacher asked me to sit next to him and help him with classwork. I felt nervous because I wasn't confident in my English, but I smiled and said okay. One day, during lunch, Jake turned to me and said, "Hi, what's your name?" I froze for a second. I wanted to answer, but the fear came back. Then I thought, Jake doesn't know my mistakes. He just wants to talk. So I said, "My name is Alex." My voice was quiet, but Jake didn't care. He smiled and said, "Nice to meet you, Alex." That small conversation gave me a little courage. I realized that Jake wasn't judging me. He just wanted to be friendly. Over the next few days, Jake and I became friends. He spoke to me in English every day. At first, I only gave short answers like yes, no, or okay. But Jake was very patient. He waited for me to speak, and when I made mistakes, he gently corrected me. One afternoon, Jake asked, "Do you like sports?" I nodded and said, "Yes, I like soccer." He smiled and asked more questions. "Who is your favorite team? Do you play at school?" I struggled to answer, but I tried. I said, "I play soccer with my brother." And Jake said, "That's cool." His kind words made me feel better. Jake also taught me a fun game called Word Chain. In this game, one person says a word, and the next person has to say a word that starts with the last letter of the previous word. For example, Jake, apple. Me, elephant. Jake, tiger. We played this game every day after school. It helped me learn new words and speak faster. Sometimes I made silly mistakes, like saying a word that didn't match. But instead of laughing, Jake explained the rules again. As the weeks passed, my confidence grew. I started speaking more in class. I raised my hand to answer simple questions. My teacher noticed and gave me encouraging smiles. Then came the big challenge. Our school was hosting an event, and every student had to give a short speech in English. When I heard this, I panicked. I thought, I can't do it. Everyone will laugh at me. But Jake said, "You can do it, Alex. You've been practicing every day. Just pretend you're talking to me." His words gave me hope. I spent the next few weeks practicing my speech. I wrote it down, read it out loud, and even recorded myself. At first, it was hard. I made mistakes, and sometimes I wanted to give up. But Jake reminded me, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Finally, the big day arrived. I stood on the stage holding my speech. My legs were shaking, and I could hear my heart pounding. I looked at the crowd and saw my mom smiling at me. I remembered Jake's advice. Just pretend you're talking to me. I took a deep breath and started my speech. At first, my voice was shaky, but as I spoke, I felt more confident. I told the audience about my favorite hobby, soccer. I talked about how I play with my brother and my friends. I even made a small joke, and some people laughed. When I finished, everyone clapped. I couldn't believe it. I did it. My teacher said, "Great job, Alex." My mom gave me a big hug, and Jake said, "I told you you could do it." After that day, I wasn't afraid to speak English anymore. I knew I wasn't perfect, but I also knew that I could try. Speaking English became fun instead of scary. Here are some tips that helped me overcome my fear. 1. Find a practice partner. Just like Jake helped me, a friend can make learning fun. 2. Play language games. Games like Word Chain can help you practice new words. 3. Speak slowly. You don't have to rush. Take your time. 4. Celebrate small wins. Every time you try, you are improving. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, it's okay to feel nervous, but don't let fear stop you. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try. If I can do it, you can too. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that help you improve your English. See you next time.